if you are in the market for a doggy gate, like we have been since we just fostered our dog, which was our doggy number 4, so we have new eating conditions in our household, I think this is a really good option for you. There will be, at the end, there will be a link in the description. We're just gonna go over some of the installation, some tips and tricks, quality, just overall scoring, things like that. So the sellers of MidWest Homes for Pets. It's a 39-inch gate, graphite in color. The actual measurements of the gate is 39.125 by 29.5. The door itself is 30 inches here. You need at least a door that is 29.5. That's the smallest door that this will actually fit. So, you know, keep that in mind when buying it. You can't really, there's no way to do it if you have a door that's smaller than that. So just keep that in mind when purchasing. Now you can go bigger than this. They do have extensions. We'll go into that here in just a little bit. But yeah, overall it's a wonderful, wonderful gate. So only tools you'll need is, if you do need tools, to do this much, you don't even need any tools. So this whole thing was set up just by, you know, just putting these in here. You don't need any tools. But the actual instructions have a little tip, I guess, on the end here that connects to the wall. And to put that in, you have to have a drill to, you know, drill a hole and then screw the screw into there. And then there's a little cup that holds this in here, right there, on all 4 corners. So that the gate literally can't move if your dog jumps on it. But as you can see, it won't, ours isn't gonna move either. Price-wise, $49 and some change. For how strong this is, I mean, you can kind of hear it. It is very durable. You know, our dogs jump up on the gate a lot of times. They'll put their paws here, and as you can see, it just, you know, it's not gonna move. Quality, or price, I would say 10 out of 10. Quality, also, like you can see, I was just saying, it's very strong. The only thing that I'm slightly worried about is this, and it's just me being, you know, worried about stuff. But this, I would think, like, if you let it go, you know, if it got slammed too hard, I would think it would break. But we've had this already for 2 months, and it's, you know, bring the groceries in, you let it go, and, you know, it's slammed many times and nothing's broken yet. So it's just worrisome because it's plastic, that's all. But I would still say 9.5 out of 10 for the quality, since that's like that. Installment, very, like I said, very, very simple for our purposes, because this, like I said, you just literally take these little corner pieces and put them in, and then you unscrew it outward to tighten it up, and that's it. You literally needed 0 tools. So installment, 10 out of 10, very, very easy. Aesthetic, you know, again, this looks drastically better than the one we have. You know, this is the other gate that we have, and this is how we use it. You know, it's ugly, I think, and then B, it obviously doesn't connect nearly as well, and it makes a lot of noise. So this one is way better looking. So aesthetic, you know, aesthetically pleasing, yes, A+, 10 out of 10. Also, it would help us a lot if you do, again, click the link in our description below. That would greatly help us. And please come back whenever you actually buy the product. And like I said, we're gonna do the installation part so you can see what I was talking about, how easy it is to install this part. Thank you.
Stop. For easier installation, do not cut the zip tie until fully installed.
Okay, this part is only if you have a need for a gate that is wider than 32 inches. This part here is for if you are putting your gate in a permanent location. You do a starter drill in the hole, you hammer this into that hole, and then you screw this in like this. And that will keep your gate in place. Again, that's only for a permanent location. So again, the way this works is you have a flathead screwdriver here, you pop that piece out, you pop that piece out, and you can do it whichever way you like the best. So a couple of ways you can do this. You can do it both on like this and down there and have it like this, or you can do one here, and then one on both sides. So whichever way works with your door and your walls, however, you know, your door layout is. This is actually very helpful, and I'll use it maybe again in the video here in just a little bit. This actually is like a little wrench, and it goes in here like this. So when you get to where you're trying to tighten it down really, really good on the door frame, It just kind of goes in like that, and you can literally move it like that just to make it really tight, a lot easier. Once it's down there in the floor, there's some spots that make it very difficult. So very, very cool wrench. Very helpful. This little tool makes it way easier to tighten this down. I would recommend every time. As we're tightening this down, or these push this all inward. See, it's not connecting to the gate here, so you keep tightening it until this connects really well in here. I've already got this one in. It's just very simple. Again, you just make sure that these are all the way down, and you put it in each hole, like that. And then we're gonna put this over here. And see, it fits in there absolutely perfect.
Let me see it.
But we have to tighten it up here in just a second. You can choose now which side do you want your door to open. Do you want it to open this way, which is the opposite of your door, or would you like to, excuse me, you can do it this way, which would basically be the same as your door. So if you have cabinets or anything, you can just and now we need to tighten everything down to make sure that, or try to make sure it doesn't move anymore. So you kind of hold it in place, and then you just tighten it down. And you want to do it on. You don't want to just tighten one, so you want to start tightening other ones, like that, and it just should move out really easily. As you tighten up the top part, I was wondering how the gate would connect and disconnect and things like that. Also, remember, don't cut this zip tie because it really does make it a lot easier if you don't. As I'm tightening this up, you can see it is actually moving this together. So once you tighten this up the right amount, this will connect and your gate will open and close correctly. So we just keep going with it on both sides a little bit equally. But you cannot do it too tight, so we're gonna do the bottom a little bit. Because if you do it too tight, this won't close correctly. So you need a little bitty gap right here. Just don't forget to leave a little small gap in here. Not too big. Then you can see it if you move the gate contraption. Just enough so that it'll close, but so your dog can't hit it and open it, basically. Before you start cutting, just make sure everything's good and tight and even in your door frame. See, even, and then just pull on it really good to make sure that it's not going to move if a baby jumps on it or anything. And that should work perfect. And then we're going to cut these now. Obviously, it's very strong and durable, so if somebody gets on the gate, it's fine. It is not going to move. The way it works is there's a lever here that unlocks the top part, and you pull it back, lift up on the gate, and then you just move it whichever direction you want. It goes this way. Also, you can go this way, whichever is easier. And you can obviously do it really easy with one hand. To open it, you just have to lift it up. You lift up, move it. And that's a very good safety feature, so that, you know, if somebody down here hits the bottom, it won't move and it won't bend. And then it's locked at the top, obviously, so if somebody gets on the top, it's not going to move either. So, perfect. Okay, just a few little tips and tricks here that we figured out, and that's another reason we were doing a little move, a little shift, reinstall. Couple things you can do. The first is our baby had an accident, obviously that's why she's in here while we're gone, and we couldn't clean because we had this actually on the floor, which you can do. You can install it where it's on the floor. However, you couldn't clean under it. Pee stays under it or whatever. So I would recommend having it, half an inch off the ground or an inch, whatever you're comfortable with. As you can see, we have just that much room. And that way we can, clean under it if something happens again. Makes it a lot nice. And then the other kind of tip, the door with the doorknob right here, it won't shut if you have it all the way up against the seal here. So what you can do is move these little things, little pegs, I guess, back that way, outside the door. Just have it, just a half an inch that way, and then your door will shut. So just keep that in mind. before you go through everything, especially if you're permanently installing it. You need to keep all that in mind. Because if you drill holes into your wall and then you're like, oh, I can't shut my door, I wish I could, just keep that in mind while you're installing it. That make sure you can shut your door, make sure you can clean under it, whatever you need to do. Thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. Have a great day.